Всем привет, я Проживер. Закончился этот эпизод. Понял, что полицейские нашли место матушку, но, похоже, она не в себе, да? Нашего Луиса и сына она не узнала. Давайте посмотрим, что же будет дальше. Так. Продолжить. Могу лишь сказать, что Сара переменилась. Можете предложить, зачем ваша мать? Ставь мне в покой, я ему... Даже мать придется за все отвечать. Если участь успехом, Сара скоро вернется к нам. Я ухожу, даже знать не хочу, что вы тут задумали. С тех пор потерял Хилсборо, женщина с двумя лицами. Вы беспомощны. Не забывайте, где вы находитесь. Выключил. Готов. Вход в склеп. 2 января 1773 года. Законец. 103. Не двигайтесь. Терянность. Собеседник при смятении применение нового стоит дороже. Выпейте флакон золотого эликсира, чтобы в себя. Стойте, Тише. Давайте мне повернуться. Матушка, что произошло? Кто вы? Что, яма? Кто вы такой?
No, you lie. You won't catch me out like that. Louis isn't here. He obeys his mother. He would never have come here.
Mother, I don't know what you've been through, but lower your arm, please.
You think I was born yesterday, do you? But it won't work.
I'm begging you.
One day you will fall.
Mother,
why are you here?
Сделать начало преследования.
I came for you.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Ни секунды в этом не сомневаюсь, вам не поймут.
What do you mean? You don't
В каком смысле вы ошибаетесь? Я не замышляю ничего против вас.
You are evil incarnate.
Если
Every word that comes out of
каждое
your
слово, что
mouth is sharper than a razor blade.
больнее ножа.
I don't wish
Я
you
ничего
any
вам не сделаю,
harm.
матушка.
Really, mother? It's me.
Это же я, Луи.
Don't speak to me about him.
Поминать.
You will never
Вы
get
до него не
him.
доберетесь.
Mother, stop torturing yourself.
Себя мучить.
It really is me, Louis. How can I convince you?
Могу меня
If
вас
you
убедить.
really are who you say you are,
Нужно знать,
what was the saying I taught you?
You've been telling it to me since I was 3 years old, Mother. How could I ever forget it? Always keep your mind rational and open.
You knew it.
You
are smart.
Вы хитрый.
You're getting me muddled up.
Сбивает меня с
Tell
толку.
me, rather,
Лучше скажите.
whose place were we
Где вы
at when I
находитесь?
told you I was coming here?
Mother, I really am your son.
Придется мне
You can't
я
trick
все
me.
знаю.
We were in Paris.
В
We were
Париже искали
investigating an art
торговца
deal.
His
производителем.
name?
Его звали.
His name was Von Bullshit.
Louis would never have got it wrong, dirtbag.
Блин.
No, wait, it's just a detail.
Нет, простите, это
He lived in
оговорка, но...
Paris, near the Notre Dame Cathedral.
Какой
We investigated him for 3 months.
3 месяца
He made a fortune by
шли.
taking advantage of gullible collectors of
Живая
Parisian high society.
You're a good actor.
He was an ancient art dealer. He had the book.
И это была книга.
And
Альф.
that's what you wanted to get out of me,
Не
wasn't
так
it?
ли?
Not at all.
Нет, не
We
так.
unmasked him, but then he came after
Он
us.
поймал
We
нас.
escaped, but
Вы
you didn't want me to
просили перед
intervene.
вами, чтобы
I listened to
избежать.
you, and we knocked him out.
Мы его
What?
зарядили.
How?
Ну как? Это
You
мог
can't
знать
know
только
about
он.
that. Louis, no.
Луи, нет.
Is
Это и правда ты?
really you? No.
Нет, 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 нет.
No. It's not true. It's a
Какой
nightmare.
ужас. Только
Don't tell me
не
that.
это.
Have you spoken to him?
С ним уже.
Shit.
Чё-то.
She's completely panicked because I spoke to Mortimer. It seems she's afraid of what he might have said to me about her.
Did he speak to you?
Naturally. Even though I had to
Естественно,
wait
правда.
3 days for him to see me, we met only
Да,
this
мы
morning.
могли сегодня
You've
утром.
been here for the past 3 days?
Yes. Why?
Что?
If you really are who you say you are, then you'll do what I ask of you.
Which is...
A conference is going to be held. You will attend on my
Пусть сын
behalf.
займет
No,
место.
wait, Mother. No one cares
You will
about...
be invited and you will go. Mortimer will present a project. Whatever this project is,
Кажется, самое
whatever the project
важное,
is,
чем проект
I
есть.
want you
Старайтесь
to
его
learn
видеть.
as much as you can about it. You'll have to get by as
Я
best you
могу
can,
вызвать
but we
подозрение.
must find out what it's about. Do you understand?
Меня понял?
Don't you think that before
вам
all
не кажется,
that,
что
there are a
стараюсь?
few issues to be addressed?
Do you
Ты меня понял?
understand?
Yes.
Да ладно, ладно,
Right,
понял.
alright, I understand.
I'll explain afterward,
Вопрос
but
потом.
right now you must go to the conference.
Собрание.
Go now.
Сейчас
You
же.
do realize you're still treating me like a...
Go.
If you aren't there when I
Джо,
get back,
если он тут
I
не
warn
находится.
you. One more thing, Mother.
Еще кое-что.
Emma's
Если
sister
ехала на остров,
came to this
Эммовская сестра
island
Эмма.
looking for her sister. She probably won't hesitate to take revenge and...
Отомстить ей.
It's the signal that the
Собрание
conference is
начинается.
starting, Louis. Don't be concerned about the
Ну,
Duchess.
Луси, я
She's the
сейчас
last of our
ничего не буду.
worries.
Собрание. Ну что ж, пойдемте. Вот так. Чтобы двигаться. Так. Идем. Аккуратно, осторожно. Раз. Сюда. И на месте. Собрание.
Monsieur de Richet, you're the only one
Еще
missing
не
at the
пришел на
conference.
собрание.
Please join the guests.
Снимите костюм. Здесь это... Ну все. Что? Фиксир. Шарчик еще. Фиксир, фиксир. Ясно. Вперед. Феликс. Как-то так. Ох. Вышли на место. Хорошо.
Respect to any other
I had suspected it.
Что ж, собрание.
I don't know if you ever found what you were looking for in the garden, but Mortimer is waiting for you. I suggest you get a move on.
You say it as if you were afraid of him.
Боитесь?
I sense that you have things you'd like to say, but something's holding you back. What is going on between you two?
Nothing.
Ничего.
Absolutely nothing.
Ничего.
I believed in him. I
Я
followed him to the
совестно
best of my
выполнял его
ability.
поручения, поддерживал
I
его
championed his
решения.
ideas, defended his
Как он
decisions,
все
and then, without even realizing it, I became lost. The siren's song, Monsieur de Richet. You wake up one morning, not knowing where you are. You think about everything you've done
все, что он сделал,
for a
человек.
man who wasn't even worth it. For a man who has no respect for you, who uses you, and who drops you
Того, кто
as soon as he
использует
no
тебя и
longer
бросит.
needs you. For me,
Мне уже не
it's too late
спастись.
now.
У тебя есть шанс.
For you still have a choice. Don't respond to his calls,
Слушай его,
sir.
парень.
Are you quite sure? Is there not a little mistake?
A chest with a motif representing the alchemical symbol of water.
But it is not sound. No, it's not sound.
Your conjecture is totally wrong, I assure you.
I have suspected this for some time, but now I am convinced.
Две штуки.
I have already told her so once, by your desire.
Are you quite sure, sir? Is there not a little mistake somewhere?
Yes, because she asked.
Good evening, gentlemen. Are we ready? The much-awaited conference is about to begin.
That is what we have all been waiting
Все
for.
ждем.
I believe that Lord
Полагаю,
Mortimer
Лорд хочет
wishes to
сначала
speak to you
сейчас
before it begins. You should go and see him.
спать к нему.
Are you quite sure, sir? Is there not a little
Ты
mistake?
еще есть здесь?
Ah, Louis,
О,
I've
вы,
been
я вас
expecting
ждал.
you.
Спасибо, что
Thank you for joining us.
смог.
We are about to begin our
Начнем через
conference.
несколько секунд.
Let me explain what is at stake.
Что сделаю?
Thank you kindly. But what do you expect of me exactly? My mother's the one who's supposed to attend, not me.
That is indeed what was
Человек так
initially
задумывался.
intended. Unfortunately, she still
Сейчас
hasn't been
до сих пор
found,
не нашли ее.
and my
Одна
guests
семья
can't
туда
stay here
вечно.
indefinitely. The conference must begin,
Собрание пора
and
начинать.
it would
А
be
он мне
truly
мешает.
beneficial to the Order to
Так,
join in the
наверное,
project. Consequently, I would like you to replace her during her absence. What is at stake here is of the utmost importance.
It's important that the French order gets their say. And should you need any advice, don't worry, you are not alone, Louis.
Very well.
Хорошо. Так, ну, давайте
Can you
по
give me a brief explanation of the aim of it all?
Of course, Louis, I was coming to that.
как раз
The
собирался.
aim of these meetings is to bring together the most influential people in order to think together about the future.
But the future of who?
Oh, the world, Louis.
Our desire is to steer the destiny of our respective countries for the good of all, and to no longer suffer the random hazards of history.
In concrete terms,
Скажите, как именно
how do you organize your discussions?
A conference is always organized the same way. There are
Ну,
two
ведущих
masters of ceremony who determine an important subject.
You and Sir Gregory, I presume.
Exactly. We shall be the masters of ceremony. It was our obligation
Каждый из
to
нас
each bring
приглашает
to the table several guests in order to debate a subject. Once the debate is closed, a decision will be made by a vote of all the participants.
By a unanimous vote. If the project is not agreed on by all,
Хоть
then it
кто-то
will be
выступит
rejected.
против предложения.
And neither of the two masters of ceremony have the right to vote.
It's up to the guests alone to decide, Louis. In other words, us.
Gregory and myself are merely the go-betweens. Finally, if the
Если
project is validated, each guest goes home and starts working to make it happen.
It can take years.
How long have you been active?
Oh, this
We
tradition
проводим
has more or
собрания с
less
известными
always existed, Louis. It has continued from generation to generation.
Do you often hold this kind of society dinner?
In general, once a year, but in actual fact it tends to be events that dictate our gatherings.
Can you give me an example of an event that was decided here before being implemented in the outside world?
Well, take the French Revolution. It was decided right here 2 years before its implementation in France.
Concerning the case of the French Revolution, I wasn't invited. But as far as the American Revolution is concerned, Louis, I can testify that we planned it 5 years before implementing it, for example.
Louis, let me keep you a moment. I would like to let you in on a secret before we begin, because I'm going to need your assistance. You see, the project I'm going to present concerns the territory of Louisiana in North America. It's currently Spanish territory, and I'm going to make the proposition to the Assembly for it to become French.
But how does that concern me?
Well, you see, I prepared this project with your mother. We began thinking about a crazy idea. Unfortunately, Sarah went missing before getting the bigger picture. I don't intend to stop at Louisiana. My idea is to increase the territory of the United States. The first stone of this vast project consists of getting Spain to cede Louisiana to France. Once it becomes French, France will hand it over to the United States, which will then allow them to double the size of their territory. And that's where you come in. France and the United States, hand in hand, two democracies illuminating the world.
But why spread it over 2 phases? Why not announce the overall project immediately?
Unfortunately, if Spain were to hear that the intention of all this is to allow the United States to grow, they would never sign. Manuel Godoy is perfectly aware of President Washington's appetite. If the United States took Louisiana, Godoy would know full well that he will have lost the entire North American continent. Things must take place in several stages. Otherwise, the change will be too brutal, and he will have no choice but to reject the project. Take a look at them. Apart from President Washington, they all belong to monarchies. Do you really think they won't resist? Of course they'll fight. Fearful as they are of losing their precious privileges. But the world needs vision. Like you. It's a pity Sarah isn't here to see. She only knew about a tiny part of the project. I hope I can count on you, Louis. It's time to start now. I must ask you to keep it to yourself for the time being. Take a seat. Follow the discussions. We'll have an opportunity to catch up later, and you'll be able to let me know your thoughts.
Mother, you didn't know about everything. His project is commendable. Why tell me to beware? Could you have gotten it wrong?
My friends, I propose we get started. First of all, I would like to thank you for taking the time to come.
The honor is ours, my lord.
As per our custom, here we are all together to discuss the face of tomorrow's world. Even though there may be certain tensions between our nations, I must ask you to keep an open mind. As Sarah de Richet is unable to be among us, please welcome Louis de Richet, who will represent the Golden Order and will vote on its behalf when the time comes.
Welcome among us, Louis.
Welcome, Monsieur. I hope he'll be more effective than his mother regarding the protection of the King of France. The Order has proved particularly inefficient.
Come, Manuel, you're not going to spoil our visit. The Order's mission was not to protect King Louis XVI, as far as I am aware.
We are talking about the King of Divine Blood, for goodness sake. It seemed obvious to me he needed protecting. If the Golden Order wants to pride itself on being an influential organization, it should have kept him alive.
Thank you all. I am honored to be among you today. I will strive to represent the interests of the Order as best I can.
Perhaps we may begin, Lord Mortimer. Certainly. I have a dream that our nations will continue to support each other more now than ever before. A dream that, for the sake of common good, we will do what it takes to ensure stability in the modern world. I have a dream that we shall lead by example and ensure that the American territory may remain in peace.
Thank you for the thought, Mortimer. But I don't see where you're leading.
I'm coming to it, Mr. President. I need not remind you that North America is currently divided between the United States on the east coast and Spain, which occupies the remaining 2/3 of the continent. Well, I propose that Spain cede the center of the continent to France, namely all of Louisiana.
Louisiana? But, well, it is not for sale. Lord Mortimer, I sincerely hope I have not come all this way just to hear you ramble on about what Spain should and should not do. When we went to all the trouble of gaining the territory a few years ago, it was not just to lose it today. Have I made myself clear?
What did I tell you, William? You speak of union, and yet here you are, about to tear us apart.
Duke Manuel, I perfectly understand you, but rest assured, you will soon adore my proposition. You shall see.
Well, since you give me the choice, my good fellow, allow me to doubt it. However, I am impatient to hear what Spain could possibly gain from the sale of Louisiana.
I never spoke of a sale, my good fellow.
What? I do not understand.
There is one more territory left to conquer, if I'm not mistaken, in the northwest. It is, of course, occupied by your notorious Indians, but...
We shall soon be rid of the savages, so that is not the question.
Duke, these savages, as you call them, were there before you. They are on their homeland.
As much as the black people of Africa, Monsieur de Richet. That does not stop your dear France from massacring them and sending them like cattle to Mr. Washington's cotton plantations to provide him with cheap labor. So you keep your morals to yourself, please.
Senor, I would not like to be associated with that. The subject of black slaves in the United States of America is a complex subject, which we shall resolve at a future date.
It obviously doesn't stop you from sleeping at night.
Not in the least. Do not imagine I have anything against the American Indians or the blacks. That is not the question. But business is business. It is the natural order of things, Monsieur de Richet. There have always been men who govern other men. That is simply the way it is.
Man, it might as well be the likes of you who rule. Is that right?
But of course.
Come now, my friends. Let us not digress. Anyway, and these primitive people have no souls, Louis. We bring the good word to them in order to save them. You'll see. Colonization brings with it many benefits, too.
Excuse me, if you don't mind, Your Eminence, I shall continue. Duke Manuel, I believe that Spain should cede Louisiana to France free of charge.
This is utterly grotesque, Lord Mortimer. What a strange example you set for your young protege. Isn't that so, Monsieur de Richet? Do you understand anything of this proposition?
If I were you, Senor Godoy, I would think twice before stirring up a scandal.
I beg your pardon?
Given the size of your colonies, you won't be able to keep them for long. A number of countries are eyeing them as we speak. The United States would have no trouble taking them. For all intents and purposes, you have no army in place. By wanting to keep everything, you risk losing it all, especially your colonies in South America, which are far more valuable to you.
That is indeed the danger, Duke Manuel. If it comes to war over Louisiana, you will lose, and probably a good deal more than you now imagine.
Young man, you are indeed a dark horse, aren't you?
I must say, William, I find your project mostly disfavors me. I thought you were my friend.
And I am, Mr. President. That is why I'm doing everything in my power to calm your expansionist fervor. France, in Louisiana, should persuade you not to attempt anything to take the territory by force. Louisiana is a vast wetland where you would needlessly lose most of your troops. It would weaken you and offer certain nations the perfect opportunity to take back your famous United States. I am protecting you from yourself, George. Trust me.
I understand. But with friends like you, sir, I certainly don't need any more enemies. I hope you know what you're doing.
Not to put too fine a point on it, Lord Mortimer, but I doubt the Holy See would be in favor of Catholic Louisiana being handed over to secular revolutionaries and king killers.
I should think Monsieur de Richet has an opinion on this subject, does he not?
In any case, my lord, I doubt the English crown will agree.
Ich versichere Ihnen, Emily, nie Preußen wird diese Vereinbarung akzeptieren.
I assure you, Emily, the Prussian will never accept this agreement. Volner looks like he's set on ruining his plan.
Duchess, I am persuaded that we shall find common ground.
That's enough, William. These are grave times. We don't care about Louisiana. That worthless expanse of putrid swamps interests no one but yourself.
Speak for yourself, my friend.
Hold on there, Mr. Royal Gigolo. Lower the volume, and let Sir Gregory finish.
How dare you!
Gentlemen, let us try to remain calm.
There you are, William. See where your projects have taken us, as per usual. Chaos! That's it. I'm tired. We shall continue this discussion tomorrow, but please be aware that your project will never be ratified. Those who are opposed to this project, follow me. Are you coming with us, Monsieur de Richet?
Come, Gregory, I think Louis would rather stay. Wouldn't you, Louis?
As for me, I think I shall remain with Lord Mortimer, Sir Gregory.
You are committing a grave error, Louis.
Time will tell.
My friends, I would like to thank you for staying.
Good God, William. What is this I hear about you reinforcing military power in Louisiana? I have no interest in having France for a neighbor, and you know that very well.
Calm down, George. Louis, explain our plan to Mr. Washington, please.
You see, Mr. President, Lord Mortimer anticipates that once France obtains Louisiana, they will cede it to you.
What do you mean? To us? The United States?
You heard right.
But
President Washington, the United States will double in size.
By what miracle have you...
You need to expand, George. You and France are the two major democracies in the modern world. It is necessary that you both become superpowers.
Are you really going to sponsor democracy throughout the world?
Of course, Monsieur Pierre. That's why I don't want Spain to get too attached to those weapons. Please continue, Louis. Explain my vision to Mr. President.
Mr. President, Lord Mortimer intends for you to conquer all the North American continent. He's relying on you to not stop at Louisiana, but to continue to push west.
Indeed, it would be dishonest to pretend that this is not my final objective.
But why didn't you tell me before?
So, home doesn't see it coming, but by the time it dawns on Senor Godoy, it'll be too late because he'll realize that he's just lost all the North American continent. We all know that you won't stop once the path is cleared before you.
What do you mean?
You see, Monsieur Pillar, it's very likely that once Louisiana becomes American, President Washington will push out even more and take the West Coast.
William, you haven't changed. Always one step ahead.
One step ahead? You're joking. More like 5.
On that note, my friends, it's getting late. Mr. President, continue to take offense over my project when we resume the conference in the morning. You do it to a T. And if Sir Gregory has the audacity to send you an emissary to convince you to go against me, do me a favor. String him along if you can. The more they believe we are divided, the more we'll have our hands free.
Only too happy to oblige.
Now, let us get some rest. We've got a big day tomorrow. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Louis, if you have a minute, I would like to ask a favor of you. I'm going to require your services.
How can I be of help? Tell me all about it.
Our adversaries are many, and the closing vote of the conference will soon be upon us. Time is of an essence, so I'll need you to assist me this evening.
How can I help?
I need you to go this very evening to persuade Senor Godoy to join us. He is the backbone of Gregory's resistance. Turn him round, and all the others will follow in such a stampede that Gregory will be able to do nothing but admit defeat.
Lord Mortimer, with all due respect, don't you think I'm the last person Godoy wants to talk to?
I'm sure you can do it. I believe in you.
Lord Mortimer, you're not telling me everything.
Let's say I wouldn't disapprove if the Right Honorable, though nonetheless choleric, Duke Manuel put you in his bad books. If it could motivate him to declare war on France, it would greatly serve our interests.
War? What do you mean?
I told you before the conference. The more we distract Spain from the Americas, the less it will have an eye on Louisiana.
But all the same, we're talking about a war in Europe.
Don't worry. That's why Mr. Bonaparte is with us. I am convinced we'll be perfectly capable of managing the conflict. And Senor Godoy is not a great soldier. He will not commit Spain to a long war that he won't be capable of managing.
I'll go straight away.
Thank you, my boy. And get some rest afterwards. Big day tomorrow.
Все коды. Идете. Ночь. Навыков нет. Что делать? Где вот он? Сфера. Искусственный конструкция.
Приди спать давай, не разыгрывайся.
Ага. Давай.
Great Work of the Soul by S. Madone. Pure alchemy is a thought, an art that is performed on the matter of the soul. Great alchemists work to transform and perfect the latter by a series of processes known as the Great Work. There are 4 phases to attain the ultimate in spiritual fulfillment. Very metaphorical as occult theories go, the human spirit being the prima materia of the alchemist.
Вот не тот. Никого нет. Так. Где? Тут никого нету. Кого походу? Среди них так видим какого-то. Ну и все, в принципе. Непонятно.
Monsieur Johann van Wulner.
Как там нужно? Важно. Важно.
Hey, Peru's name tag's fallen off, and his door's ajar.
В принципе. Да. Живет.
The Great Work of the Soul by S. Madone. Pure alchemy is of thoughts, an art that is performed on the matter of the soul. Great alchemists work to transform and perfect the latter by a series of processes known as the Great Work. There are 4 phases to attain the ultimate in spiritual fulfillment. Very metaphorical as occult theories go, the human spirit being the prima materia of the alchemist.
Все. Кого даже не видно. Адамс.
President George Washington. Monseigneur His Eminence Cardinal Piaggi. Huh, that's me. Duke Manuel Godoy.
Ah, Monsieur de Richet. You wouldn't have seen Duke Manuel by any chance, would you?
I was going to ask you the same question.
I wanted to speak to him, but no one will open the door. I'm not sure he's in there.
If I want to pass through, I'll have to get Volner out of the way.
Oh, now wait a minute. Yes, I remember now. I think I saw him in the garden.
In the garden? No, you must be mistaken. I've just come from there. I would have seen him.
Oh, I must have seen someone else then.
Most certainly. Oh well, he's bound to turn up at some point. I'll wait.
impossible to get through with him glued in front of the door. I'll have to find another way into Godoy's room.
Ладно. Сейчас мне комнату прийти.
Huh, that's me. Mary Louise of Parma. How ironic having a painting of the Queen of Spain in one's room, my Lord Duke. It looks like someone's hidden something on the back of this painting. It's a letter. Of course, it's written in Spanish. It reeks of lavender. Well, well, Mr. Godoy. You seem very interested in hiding this letter. Another secret romance, I presume? Don Quixote. Talking without thinking is like shooting without taking aim. I have to think about that one. Mary Louise of Parma. How ironic having a painting of the Queen of Spain in one's room, my Lord Duke. Manuel Godoy. A painting of himself in his room. Now that's not gonna... Volner's probably still behind the door. I'd best go out through the balcony just in case. Don Quixote. Talking without Prometheus. Punished for stealing fire from the gods and giving it to man. A fragment of amber. Brutus and his companions taking an oath to kill Caesar. Charles IV of Spain. Now there's no chance of Godoy forgetting who he owes everything to. Charles IV of Spain. Now there's no chance of Godoy forgetting Maria Louisa of Parma. Although not Godoy's true love, the Queen is his benefactress according to some people. Don Quixote. Talking without thinking is like shooting without taking aim. I have to think about that one. Manuel Godoy. A painting of himself in his room. Now that's not going to help him develop a sense of modesty.
Bien, Monsieur de Richie.
Duke Manuel Godoy.
Что еще внизу?
I would like to come in.
I am sorry, sir, but that is not possible for the moment.
I'm looking for someone. Tell me at least who's in there so I don't needlessly go looking around for hours.
Duchess Hillsborough is speaking with Sir Gregory, sir. The other guests have gone back to their rooms through the other side.
Can you tell me where I can find Duke Manuel, please?
Alas, I do not know, sir. I can only assure you he is not in the small salon.
Very well. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Duke Manuel?
Well, well. Monsieur de Richelieu, I was not expecting you. I am not in the mood, sir, I warn you. What do you want from me, sir?
I see you're still feeling under pressure. Since your arrival, I've noticed that you've been on the defensive. It seems to me that Monsieur Peru has a knack for getting your back up.
That is the least you can say. Indeed, I was warned. I knew what to expect. For God's sake, why in the hell did your people execute their king? Have the French gone stark raving mad? There are nothing but monarchies in power in Europe. They will all come crashing down on you.
We shall see. It might well turn out to be the opposite.
You certainly do not lack for audacity, young man. Just tell me one thing, monsieur. Why did you side with Mortimer? Alone. Isolated. The United States can do nothing to help you, and France is surrounded by over 10 countries, just waiting for the word to pounce. Really, I do not see why you choose Mortimer.
Oh, it's really quite simple, you know. Whose place are we at? Who can manage to bring together so many influential figures under the same roof?
Technically, Sir Gregory brought more guests than Mortimer.
Yes, but in whose name? Who organized the party, Senor Godoy? Who pays the bills? And you are forgetting something fundamental. Who has the biggest army nowadays?
Yes.
There's no shame in admitting that France is militarily superior to you. That's why you're considering joining forces with other European countries in order to confront us.
I agree that Mortimer does have some powerful assets. Tell me, do you really believe Spain has any interest in ceding Louisiana to France?
I won't lie to you, sir. I don't think I've seen all the advantages. But surely that's because we haven't truly considered all the consequences.
Can you hear yourself speak? Reassure me. The aim of this meeting is not to convince me to follow Mortimer, I hope. Tell me one last thing. What would I gain from all this?
You unshackle yourself from Sir Gregory, who, let's face it, takes up a lot of space.
What are you talking about?
My friend, I'm guessing that you wouldn't mind getting a little freedom from the overbearing control he exerts?
I would never have gotten where I am today without him. He is an influential man who is true to his word and who has always given me his full attention.
But he obliges you to...
That's enough. I will not allow you to stab him in the back. Sir Gregory is a respectable gentleman, and your petty manipulations have no effect on me. If that is your only argument, then you are on the wrong track. How could you ever think a pup like you could manipulate me in this way for a single second?
Duke Manuel?
Well, Monsieur de Richelieu, I was not expecting you. I am not in the mood, sir, I warn you. What do you want from me, sir?
I see you're still feeling under pressure. Since your arrival, I've noticed that you've been on the defensive. It seems to me that Monsieur Peru has a knack for getting your back up.
That is the least you can say. Indeed, I was warned. I knew what to expect. For God's sake, why in the hell did your people execute their king? Have the French gone stark raving mad? There are nothing but monarchies in power in Europe. They will all come crashing down on you.
We shall see. It might, well, turn out to be the opposite.
You certainly do not lack for audacity. Just tell me one thing, monsieur. Why did you side with Mortimer? He is alone, isolated. The United States can do nothing to help you, and France is surrounded by over 10 countries, just waiting for the word to pounce. Really, I do not see why you choose Mortimer.
Oh, it's really quite simple, you know. Who's closer? Who can manage to bring together so many influential figures under the same roof?
Technically, Sir Gregory brought more guests than Mortimer.
Yes, but in whose name? Who organized the party, Senor Godoy? Who pays the bills? And you are forgetting something fundamental. Who has the biggest army nowadays?
Yes.
There's no shame in admitting that France is militarily superior to you. That's why you're considering joining forces with other European countries in order to confront us.
I agree that Mortimer does have some powerful assets. Tell me, do you really believe Spain has any interest in ceding Louisiana to France?
My Lord Duke, you know as well as I do that our common enemy is and will always be England. I don't believe you look favorably at its embargo on France. Its ships cross the Atlantic Ocean right up to your coastline.
Do not even mention it. If those tea drinkers try anything in these waters, I will send the whole of the Spanish fleet to calm them down. Tell me one last thing. What would I gain from all this?
My Lord Duke, in these uncertain times, I believe it would be to your advantage to be rid of Louisiana in order to focus your attention on your colonies in the south. It will show the court the man you really are and how much you truly deserve your position.
And it will silence all the jibes and jeers aimed at my person. Then people would only see me as the man who consolidated the frontiers of the Spanish Empire.
What a statesman you are.
Come on, you fool, give it up. You're trapped like a rat.
Monsieur, I am astounded. I did not think you capable, but you have succeeded. I will be more wary of you the next time. Nonetheless, if you can guarantee Lord Mortimer's support, then yes, you can count on my vote when the time comes. However, I expect you to be discreet with regard to my former partners, without which our agreement will become null and void.
Of course, my Lord Duke. You can count on me. Lord Mortimer will be delighted to hear the news.
I hope you know what you are getting into, Louis. I bid you good luck.
Good night, my Lord Duke. See you tomorrow. Well, that's one thing out of the way. Only thing left to do is wait for the conference to resume tomorrow morning.
Спать, отдыхать. Все спать. Где моя комната? Пускай он ждет. Идем дальше. Он опять не играет.
Good evening, Monsieur le Français.
Duchess, you're here. What a charming surprise. I'm beginning to think you can't be without me.
You have managed to penetrate my armor, sir. Am I disturbing you, perhaps?
That's not what I said.
Ah, by the way, you surprised me during the conference.
Why's that?
Well, you are going to lose. Why stay with Lord Mortimer?
I believe he has every chance of winning.
My, you are a rash one. However, if ever you want to change sides, please feel free to let me know.
But tell me, You didn't come here to try and make me change my mind, did you?
That's the last thing on my mind, although you would have everything to gain by it.
There's no point trying to persuade me. Don't hold it against me.
Of course not, silly. Louis, if you trust me, you ought to ask yourself why I have chosen home. You do trust me, don't you?
It's got nothing to do with trust.
Oh, so you don't trust me then? I love the way you don't really reply in order to avoid getting involved. Admit, though, that it does make you think. There's still time, you know. Join us before it's too late.
Unfortunately, my word is my bond. I don't want to leave Lord Mortimer in the lurch.
Very well, as you wish. It's up to you to decide.
Tell me, are these visits to Mortimer's always so intense?
Yes and no. My sister doesn't normally disappear like she has. Any news of your mother?
Still nothing. And you? Any news of your sister?
No, but knowing her, I'm persuaded she's on someone's trail. You'll see. She'll surprise us all.
If only you knew, Emily. You're right. We must remain positive. I'm sure it won't be long before she turns up.
My thoughts too. She is Duchess Hillsborough after all.
And as such, she is capable of anything.
I am sure that you'll appreciate her. You'll see.
No doubt about that.
And it might turn out that you prefer her to me. Who knows?
Rest assured, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm sure she's very nice, but there is only one Emily Hillsborough.
We shall see. Can we change subject, please? I didn't come here to go through all that again.
Of course, it's late. You're right.
Come, Louis.
My friends, do not worry. I assure you that Lord Mortimer's plan will never see the light of day. I shall deal with informing our allies, but for the time being, I need you to make a stand.
What do you think about Monsieur de Richet?
I don't know yet. I feel there's great potential in him. He looks like he can be trusted. And Duchess Hillsborough. Why isn't she here? She's busy. Don't worry about her.
Oh, isn't it time to replace her?
Not so fast, sir. She is an important figure. You want to have a little more faith in her. What are we going to do about Washington? He will be a hard nut to crack. On our chessboard, he is Mortimer's king. Don't worry. Mr. President only wants one thing. To keep his dear America united. He won't jeopardize everything he has achieved on a whim. He has been serving Mortimer for quite some time. It won't be easy to bring him around. Do you feel all right, Mr. Godoy? You haven't said a word.
Please excuse me, gentlemen. I feel tired.
Oh, I see. I think it is high time you left us then. Now!
Сейчас же.
Emily? Emily? Are you there? Typical. There she goes again. What's with this habit of hers of taking off in the middle of the night?
Sir, the conference is about to begin. You are expected in the conference room.
Tell them I'm coming. Thank you.
Louis. The game is back on. My friends, the conference is about to begin. Please excuse me if I troubled you last night with my project. I understand that you might have questions to ask. As you know, the final vote will be cast in 2 days. This morning's aim is to answer your questions and check the temperature of your respective positions so that we may reach a greater understanding.
As always, Lord Mortimer.
We parted in perfect disagreement. Where would you like us to take it from?
Come, sir. Please let William believe he still has a chance of winning us over. Otherwise, his implications will lack panache, and we shall be bolt stiff.
Oh, let me assure you, I am convinced that a good night's sleep has brought sound advice, and that this morning will be even more interesting. Therefore, I would like to go around the table in order to hear everyone's first impressions.
Well, I am still firmly against it, even though my choice won't count.
Against.
Against. Against.
And you, Duke Manuel?
Well, you see, it is more complicated and it...
Godoy?
Calm, Gregory. Don't try to impress my guests, please.
They are not your guests.
Gregory, anyone under my roof is by definition my guest. You included. I would be very grateful if you would let my guests speak. Duke Manuel, you were saying you still had some doubts?
Well, you see, the situation has changed since last night.
What's going on here, my Lord Duke?
You see, I gave it some thought already night. New arguments have come to light.
In Duke Manuel.
Sir Gregory and Spain will not support you in this. I vote for. Moreover, in response to arguments brought to my attention, I declare war on France.
What? What is he doing?
If you think France is afraid of you, you are dreaming.
Over 10 nations rise against you, young man, and you behave like a young little dog.
When the French armies are at your door, my Lord Duke, you will change your mind. Well, as for me, I am for Lord Mortimer's project, despite Duchess Hillsborough's overwhelmingly convincing nocturnal attentions.
What? So Emily was playing at trying to win over guests last night?
It was nothing more than a friendly little chat, of course.
How could it be otherwise? And by the way, remember me to your husband when you see him. And you, President Washington, what is your position?
For, of course.
Well, that leaves just yourself and Monsieur Peru, Louis.
You're all making me sick. Look at yourselves.
What?
You are pathetic.
Have
you been drinking or what? There you are, quibbling away. Madame Duchess that. You know very well that we're nothing but puppets on a damn string. Let's end the charade. It's over. My lord, thank you for everything you've done for me over the years. But it didn't come for free. Now I see the price is too high to pay. I'll stop.
Come, Jacques, we'll talk it over.
No, I'm finished. I want my freedom back, my lord. I shall no longer work for you.
Wait.
Richet, you just can't help it, can you? Stop trying to play the hero, man.
Monsieur, I know I don't really know you, but you seem like a decent person.
I have done so many horrible things.
You blame yourself, I can see
Чувствуете
that.
раскаяние, я же вижу.
Everything's not lost.
I don't want to do bad
Я больше никому не могу
You can take
говорить.
control of yourself again. You
Я
can
себя
fix
руки исправить
whatever
все,
it
что
is you've done.
совершили.
Do you really believe that?
Как думаешь?
Of course, Jacques.
Конечно.
You'll have all the time you need. Look, you've done as much as you
Все, что
can.
могли.
You have nothing to fear. Your daughter is
Чудо
safe.
есть ваша точка безопасности. Ой. 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 Не бывает. Бывает. Ай-яй.
Wait.
Richet, you just can't help it, can you? Stop trying to play the hero, man.
Monsieur,
I know I don't really know you, but you seem like a decent person.
I have done so many horrible things.
You blame yourself, I can see that. Everything's not lost.
I don't want to do bad things anymore.
You can take control of yourself again. You can fix whatever it is you've done.
Do you really believe that?
Of course, Jack. You'll have all the time you need. I'm sure we can find a solution. The Golden Order can look after you, for example.
My boy, you just don't understand.
Ладно, еще раз.
Wait.
Darishe, you just can't help it, can you? Stop trying to play the hero, man.
Опять не то.
Monsieur, I know I don't really know you, but you seem like a decent person.
I have done so many horrible things.
You blame yourself, I can see that. Everything's not lost.
I don't want to do bad things anymore.
You can take control of yourself again. You can fix whatever it is you've done.
Do you really believe that?
Of course, Jack. You'll have all the time you need. I've got an idea. If you're so afraid of Lord Mortimer's reaction, what if you joined sides with Sir Gregory?
Wake up, Louis. Hold Mortimer. It's the same thing.
Меня позволить. Убедить. Сторону форта часть собрания. Или знал, что близкие друзья пригласили спас Жака первый. Понятно. Так.
I don't understand. I spoke to him only recently.
Monsieur Peru has lost his mind. It's obvious.
Yet another way for the French to make a spectacle of themselves. Well, once again it has worked.
My friends, let us settle down, please. We are all in shock, of course. Let us praise Louis' gesture anyway. You did what you could.
Yes, it was very noble of you, Louis.
It wasn't your fault.
There was nothing else you could have done.
I think everyone needs a little rest. Can you stay a moment?
Of course.
Так, хорошо. Так.
Louis, I wanted to talk to you a moment about what has happened. All this is tragic, but I wanted to thank you for doing what you could.
I wasn't able to save him.
You couldn't, Louis. You mustn't blame yourself. It is not your fault.
I know this has nothing to do with me, my lord, but don't you think you're partly to blame? It won't escape your attention that he incriminated you before he took his own life.
I heard what he said, yes. Monsieur Peru appeared to blame me for his condition. I certainly encouraged him to succeed, but I wasn't aware he couldn't handle the pressures of the situation. Of course, his duties in Paris were very difficult. The choices he had to make were burdensome. But that was the path he had chosen. Should I not have helped him to succeed, perhaps? You heard him yourself. His duties as judge got the better of him.
Did you push him into it?
I wouldn't say push, but I did encourage him, yes. I thought it was my duty to help him as much as I could to become the court judge he dreamed of being. I thought he was capable of it. It appears I was mistaken, unfortunately. What a pity he didn't come and speak to me. What a waste.
What are your plans now?
What do you mean?
For the conference. After the disappearances of both Elizabeth Adams and my mother, and now the death of Mr. Perlu, I should imagine that your guests are all packing their bags.
This might come as a bit of a shock to you, perhaps because it was so difficult to bring all these figures together. But I am convinced that none of them is preparing to leave.
And you endorse that? For God's sake, that's totally immoral.
Morality and politics don't go well together, my boy. Like water and oil, they cannot mix. By definition, politics is not immoral as much as it is amoral. It must not take into account any morality that would constitute a hindrance. Otherwise, it could not be free to make tough decisions.
Do you realize what you just said?
It's a question of duty, Louis. Look, morality evolves over time and differs depending on the habits and customs of each country. It must not be a criterion. What we are doing here, Louis, will change the very face of the world. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is our duty. The future is in motion, and nothing must stop it.
If you say so, allow me to take my leave, please.
Of course. You ought to get some rest. Oh, Louis, one more thing, please. I wanted to thank you for your support during the conference. You've made the right choice, and it gives me tremendous satisfaction to have you with me on this project.
What is at stake is worth it, my lord. Now, I won't hide from you the fact that I have no idea by what miracle we could ever get a unanimous vote.
Trust me, Louis. We still have a few more cards to play. You'll see. Anything can happen in politics.
I'll see you later, my lord. Идем. Бежать.
I already mentioned it yesterday. Either to you or to someone else. Impossible to tell with you people.
Yes.
Your yes is not sufficient. Tell the others, for crying out loud. Remember to close my window once you've done my room. This is important, you know.
Huh, that's me.
Слушай, на месте.
Next time, I'll listen to my mother. Not a day has gone by without something happening to me. What now?
Louis, open up, please.
Coming, Mr. President, I'm coming.
Louis, there you are at last.
Yes,
I just saw your mother. She was accompanied by Emily, and they both went into the Duchess's room. I tried to join them, but I was refused entry. Louis, this does not bode well.
Shit. Emily might want to avenge your sister. I must act quickly.
You're right, Mr. President. Thank you.
Искать так. Упс. Смотри.
President George Washington.
Где он сказал? Все послушать нет. Совершенно.
Monsieur Johann van Wunderl.
Тепсь.
I am sorry, sir, but you are unable to access Monsieur Peru's room while we gather his personal effects.
Monsieur Napoleon Bonaparte. Duchess Emily Hillsborough. I do believe that's Emily's voice.
Yes.
I can't open it. It must be blocked on the other side. I'll have to find another way in, quick. I can't understand what she's saying. Emily! Emily, are you there? Answer me. Emily!
Нет, нам. Сейчас блокую. Может, нет. Сейчас комната Бонапарта. Так.
It's a beautiful weapon. Heavy damask blade. It's Carmelite water. You say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost. Damn it! It's closed. Seems like the key is still in the lock on the other side. That means I won't be able to pick it. Or I could do as I did the last time in the tower room. Looks like I've got no choice here. Let's try brute force and ignorance.
Закрыто.
It's as if there are several people inside.
Once again, you're the one who's the victim in all this.
What on earth is... You...
Wait.
Mother?
How dare you do this to me? You can talk. After everything I've done for you. You are joking, I hope. Right? I gave you my life. That's enough, Emma. Now that Louis is here, you will leave Sarah alone. Cease your revenge immediately. What? If you think you're going to... Louis, help me, I beg you. I can no longer reason with her. I am Emily. Quit playing games. What? Honestly, don't be ridiculous. No. I am Emily. Louis knows very well how to tell us apart. After everything we've been through together.
Yes, well...
Don't you dare bring him into this. This is between you and me. I ask for nothing more, so stop taking it out on Sarah. You frizzy little bitch! How dare you? Now that I've told you everything, you want to take my place, do you? You are joking, I hope. I'm the one who told you everything that's been going on while you were away. Go on then. That's what you want, isn't it? You want to kill me. Go on then, shoot! After all the trouble I've gone through to find you.
Go
on.
What
are you waiting for? Here, Louis, take this.
Wait, what's going
on? An entire life for this. Go on, shoot. Sorry, Louis, I can't shoot her. She's my sister. That's enough, Emma. Louis, out of the way. She's dangerous. Don't trust her. What are you trying to do? Louis, out of the way. I am not Emma. Come on, Louis, tell her who the real Emily is.
Wait,
That's right, Louis. I'm fed up with this little game. Tell him who the real Emily is.
Why do these things always happen to me?
Well, Louis, come on, you know how to tell us apart, right?
Yes, but I'd like to ask you a few questions to make sure there's no doubt.
Rational and open, Louis. Let's see. How can I tell them apart? Wait, I've got an idea.
On the night of our arrival, on the wharf, something happened to me. What happened exactly?
You felt unwell. You had a nosebleed, and I offered you my handkerchief. I told her all that already. It was me who told you.
Right. Let's find something else. Ah, yes. Let's speak about my arrival at the manor.
On the night of our arrival, we were warming ourselves in front of the fire. Mortimer welcomed us in a very odd way. What happened?
It won't work, Louis. It wasn't Mortimer who welcomed us. It was Sir Gregory. Sorry, Louis. I already told her.
Very well.
Let's try something else.
On the first night, we went up to bed, but I wasn't tired. I went for a little stroll. Before going to bed, I went for a stroll. Did we speak to each other during that stroll?
You must be mistaken. After going up to bed, I went straight to sleep. But she knows all that, Louis. I already told her. Don't think you're going to get away with this deception so easily. I can assure you, you're going to regret pretending to be me once Louis has exposed you.
Right. I don't think I'll get very far like this. I'll have to find something better.
Oh, I don't think I'll even wait until he's finished.
Take it easy now.
Are you mad, Louis?
Lower your arm.
I better act quickly if I don't want things to get out of hand.
Come on, she's putting one over on you. Look at yourself for crying out loud. You were prepared to shoot me down.
In the secret room behind the study. Talk to them about what you've been doing. Maybe they haven't spoken about it between each other yet.
On the night of the disappearance of Elizabeth Adams.
What about it? What do you want to know about that night?
Remember? How did you manage to vanquish the Medusa?
Sword toward the Gorgon, Gorgon toward the shield, shield toward the sword. Lantern toward the shield. Of course, I told her how to do it. That's enough! I've had enough of this charade. Louis, there's only one way to tell us apart. There's just one thing I didn't tell her about in detail. Too bad for you, Emma. I didn't want it to come to this, but you leave me no choice. Ask her about you and I. You just lost, Emma. I indeed didn't tell you everything about it. Come, Louis. Speak about our intimacy.
Very well. Let's talk about us. Last night, we spent the night together. But beforehand, you insisted on talking about my choices during the conference. Why?
I beg your pardon. Louis, I did not go to see you last night.
What? Huh?
Now your true identity is exposed. What did you do? I didn't tell you everything, little sister. I never told you about this episode, so you know nothing of what happened last night between Louis and me. You dirty slut. What did you do?
That's enough, both of you. Now I know who the real Emily is. It's you, Emily.
No, Louis. She is manipulating you.
No, Emma. It's her. I know it. Despite all the trouble you've gone to put one over on me, I know it is her.
That's enough now, Emma. You little slut. Don't think you are going to get away with this so easily. You are going to stop your little game right now. Never. I am Duchess Hill. No.
Нет.
Emily?
I am the Duchess.
But
you don't. Dear God, what have I done? See what you've done. See?
Видишь?
Louis?
Mother!
What on earth is...
Go away.
You
must go. Everyone is going to arrive.
Louis, what's going on?
Что происходит?
Duchess? Is
Сиденье?
everything all right?
Все в порядке?
Come on, Louis.
Стрелы.
There's nothing more you can do.
But I
leave us.
Томаш, уходите. Что происходит?
Go to the crypt. I'll meet you there.
I'll be waiting for you.
Emily.
Madam, I am coming in.
Я ухожу.
It was bound to end like this, Louis. Let me stay with her. Please. Go. I'll cover you.
Скорее. Идем. Склепы. Ясно. Идите в склеп.
Good God! They're all here. They must have heard the gunshot.
Where is Lord Mortimer? Can anyone hear anything
Не
through the
слышу, что
door?
они говорят.
Did you hear that? I was not dreaming, was I?
Certainly not, Duke Godoy.
What's going on?
Что происходит?
Someone had the bang coming from the Duchess's room. She isn't answering. Gentlemen, go back to your rooms. Go back to your rooms. I shall find out from Lord Mortimer what this is all about. Thank you.
Спасибо. Yes. Назад картину доверились. Ну, может, назад. Что мясо, эти мясо. Так. Так. Что ждем? Склеп.
Louis, at last, there you
Это
are.
где?
Mother, wait a...
Стойте, я...
Come, we have to be quick.
No, wait, Mother,
Time is running out, Louis. First, we must...
No.
Сначала нам нужно...
That's enough. I won't go a step further unless you explain to me what
Надо
is
объяснить, что
going
здесь
on
происходит.
here. I'm begging you. talk to me.
You must trust me, my son. You are not ready yet.
You're the one who should trust me. Tell me what's happening.
You would never believe me.
I came all the way here for you. Now I found you. I'm ready, Mother.
If only. Louis, I have always taught you to keep your mind open and rational. I know you are going to find this hard to believe, but what I am going to reveal to you is entirely true. Many years ago, I found out that demons really do live among us.
I beg your pardon?
And that they can influence our thoughts.
Mother, listen to yourself. I know you're exhausted, but for crying out loud, listen to what you're saying. Demons? What next? An ancient monster with a head like an octopus? What do your demons look like? Have they got horns and a pointed tail?
No, these are not creatures with billy goat's legs. Forget your Christian folklore. Imagine them more as parasitic spirits. They possess their hosts and direct them from inside.
Parasitic spirits?
Yes, they are capable of going from one body to another as they see fit. And 2 of them are present on this island.
Right, so let me guess. Lord Mortimer and Sir Gregory, right?
You felt it too?
No, even if Home does look the part. But I don't know who else could do it, given that we're on their territory.
Many years ago, well before you were born, I crossed paths with one of them. Since then, I've spent my life trying to find it again. When we recovered the Alizé, I was persuaded that Von Burchard was working for this demon in one way or another. But I thought he would hand the book to a middleman during this conference. That's where I made an error that could well turn out to be fatal. The one who Burchard was meant to give the book to was none other than the demon in person, Mortimer. Not to mention that Home had sent Volner to get it for him.
Home and Mortimer are demons?
They both seem to disagree about many things, but I'll admit I never knew exactly why. There are many of them, Louis. Not just those 2.
Mother, have you any proof to support any of this?
Of course, but you do too. You had everything laid out in front of you. Didn't you notice anything?
You mean the conference?
How can you explain that someone manages to bring together so many important figures without anyone knowing?
And without any security or personnel. I went beyond the nightmare, Mother.
You understood the Masonic date.
1191.
Of course! It was during that siege that the demon took possession of Sir Mortimer. They spent a whole night in conversation until the early hours of the morning. Mortimer had passed the test. He had charmed the demon, and so it chose him to be its host for centuries to come. But tell me, did you find his secret study?
I did indeed.
Did you see his maps of the world?
He has contacts the world over.
Yes, I've been developing the Golden Order across the world for many years, and I've never seen anyone with such influence. It's simply inhuman.
I must admit, I found it difficult to understand how and why Mortimer didn't have a place in history.
On the continent, Mortimer and Home are mere dandies who organize society balls. History forgets them with a disconcerting facility. No one speaks about them, and yet they whisper in the ears of kings and presidents.
Well, those property deeds across the world, all signed by the same hand and over several centuries.
I am proud of you, Louis.
I found your notes written in lemon juice.
Where all eyes size you up. At one stage, I was so afraid of losing my mind that I noted everything down. Congratulations, Louis. Wait, please tell me you didn't open Pandora's box.
The urn? No, I didn't. Why?
Good. We'll deal with it later. Louis, I am proud of you. You came all this way. You found me. You have surpassed me.
You taught me everything I know. Right. How did it all begin?
I saw him.
What do you mean you saw him?
I was 20 years old. I was young and carefree. I traveled the world in search of adventure. In the Persian Gulf, we came across an ancient grimoire that became unlocked, composed of 7 parts. Each one was a book in itself, set in a sort of metal armor that structured the whole thing. When all the volumes were brought together, they formed a single book. On my return to Paris, I set to studying these pages. I spent all my days and nights studying them.
Oh, I can imagine you doing that.
But the writing was in a language I had never seen before, developed well before Sumerian in my opinion. So I got the idea to form a small occult circle composed of all the major names in the occult world to see if anyone else could crack it.
And you found no one.
And I found someone, Louis. I found him. Or rather, he found me. He was young, charismatic. He was flamboyant.
You mean Mortimer?
He was a veritable mine of knowledge. I showed him the book, and he was able to decipher a few passages. We spent several months together studying the pages. He helped me understand certain passages until I realized that he only translated a few. But I had aroused his interest. It was too late.
How so?
I mean to say he manipulated me. He used me, and in the end, he stole the book with all its secrets.
Did he ever go to your place?
Not once. At least I don't think so. But before disappearing, he proposed a pact between us. He proposed that I follow him and let him teach me, allow him to bring me up.
And you accepted?
Please don't be stupid. You don't make deals with the devil. After that, I spent my whole life looking for him. 3 years later, in Berlin, I just missed him. In London, I lost 6 members of the order in a chase. In 1741, in Tunisia, I found a sect of fanatics who had crossed paths with him once. 1741, in Poland. 1749, in India.
8 years ago in Venice.
We agreed never to speak about what happened in Venice, Louis.
You agreed, and that was before you spoke to me about demons. Wait, the baby we delivered, you and me, that night in Venice? Did he have anything to do with Lord Mortimer?
The child was his son.
We stole his son? Are you insane? I always thought we took him to save him.
That was the case. It was precisely to save him from his father.
Need I remind you the mother died during childbirth? What became of the child?
Later. For the moment, that is not the key issue here. Once we found the Alazif in Paris, I followed von Borchart's trail here. I didn't think it would lead me straight to the demons. It was careless of me. He toyed with me for a few days, until I caught on, until I saw him as he was. But he had no intention of letting me leave. We are all his pawns, Louis, and if we don't want to spend the rest of our lives turning round in circles here, we must absolutely get off this island. All right, can we move on?
Wait a minute, one last thing. I want to know what happened with Elizabeth Adams.
Louis, we haven't time for those details.
I'm sorry, Mother, but I want to know.
She was one of the receptacles for these monsters. I met her parents when she was born. One of the demons got inside her. The demon used her to spy on her father, John Adams. He is one of the founding fathers and vice president of the United States, you know.
Mortimer possessed her?
No, I don't think it was Mortimer. Her father, John Adams, hired me to tend to her, but the evil in her was too deep. In spite of the various treatments I tried on her, I never succeeded in getting it out of her. It's not something I'm proud of, Louis, but I had to try everything.
Do you know who killed her?
Absolutely not.
I want to know what happened with Elizabeth Adams.
Louis, we haven't time for those details.
I'm sorry, Mother, but I want to know.
She was one of the receptacles for these monsters. I met her parents when she was born. One of the demons got inside her. The demon used her to spy on her father, John Adams. He is one of the founding fathers and vice president of the United States, you know.
Mortimer possessed her?
No, I don't think it was Mortimer. Her father, John Adams, hired me to tend to her, but the evil in her was too deep. In spite of the various treatments I tried on her, I never succeeded in getting it out of her. It's not something I'm proud of, Louis, but I had to try everything.
Do you know who killed her?
Absolutely not.
I want to know what happened between you and Emily's sister.
Great responsibility often brings difficult choices, Louis. That's all you need to know.
All right, but you're not getting away with it so lightly. Once we get back to Paris, be sure I won't be letting it go.
We'll see in Paris then.
What did you negotiate about the Alazif with Volner?
Absolutely nothing. I managed to pull the wool over his eyes until I found a way to flee.
What was going on with the cannons in Tuscany?
It was nothing.
Since when does the Order finance wars?
The cannons for that Bonaparte fellow? Listen, once in the lion's den, I did whatever I could to appear legitimate. So yes, I pretended to be interested in Mortimer's project about a young military man who was seeking funding for a foundry in Tuscany. Between you and me, if buying China would have enabled me to escape, I would have signed without hesitation.
Samuel Ritter du Choix, you wanted to send me a letter about Godoy.
I wanted you to run a check on Duke Manuel, but frankly it doesn't really matter anymore now. Godoy is just a pawn like the others. He is not the one I was looking for.
You know, I found your package under a wharf plank.
As a matter of fact, I needed it yesterday. I wasn't expecting anyone to take it.
On the evening of my arrival, Cardinal Piaggi came looking for you. He was determined to give you a letter.
More of his lists. Louis, I think I know what's in that letter, and I beseech you to believe that it is the least of our worries. We can sort that out later.
Are you going to tell me what happened to your hand?
Better than that. I shall show you.
Good. I think that's about right. We shall speak about it once we get back to France.
Great actions for humanity have been decided by demons for centuries, Louis. They are playing with our destiny. We are their slaves. And it's time for us to stop. By the way, what was Mortimer's project at this conference?
He wants the United States to occupy all the North American territory. France should recover Louisiana and give it to the United States. In that case, the Americans would just have to push west to chase the Spanish from the continent once and for all.
And as Mortimer controls Washington, you may just as well say that it will put him at the head of a world superpower. We should do our utmost to stop Mortimer's plans. But for the time being, there are more pressing matters.
Are you going to tell me why we're here?
There. That's why we're here.
Вот я могу. Тих, я могу знать, что такое. Понятно.
Reassure me, we aren't going to have to force that one, are we?
I don't think we're even capable of doing it. You're going to have to find a way to open it.
Why, of course. And what's inside?
Something to vanquish them with?
Perfect. So, how does it open?
We'll need several keys. I found a note from the architect who conceived the mechanism in Mortimer's secret study. We have to first gather 5 objects before we try anything.
Are the 5 objects the keys?
Exactly. We have the Clement III cross, the nails, the Gutenberg Bible, the exegesis of Judas, an armillary sphere, and all we need to match up the dates between the different calendars.
Why a cross?
Well, I haven't the foggiest idea, but it just so happens that's what you are going to use to activate the mechanism. I found the one Mortimer kept. It belonged to Cardinal Guibert, better known by the name of Pope Clement III.
Perfect. Where is it?
Unfortunately, I've lost it. When I lost my hand, I went dashing out, and it must have fallen from my pocket.
Remember, Mother. I'm certain you can remember.
Let me think.
You were running.
I was bleeding to death.
You remember the pain.
I thought I was going to faint. Yes, I remember. I don't think it can be far, can it?
Would you have lost it outside?
No, I don't think so. It must be in the area. I don't remember going up with it.
Perfect. I'll search the crypt before leaving.
One last thing before you go. Be very careful. If you come across anyone, they can all potentially be spies of Mortimer or Holm. Don't ever confide in anyone because a demon can slip inside them at any moment.
Wait, not all of them though. Take Washington.
Especially Washington. He's been conditioned by Mortimer for years. Look at them, for crying out loud. How do you explain their behavior otherwise? The most influential politicians in the Western world gather together without the least protection, without a single aid to assist them, to participate in a conference during which the guests start dropping like flies. Me, Adams, Peru, Hillsborough. Look at the number of calamities that have happened over the past few days. And not one of them has asked to leave the island. Do you find that normal? You'll see. Go up to the manor to look for the keys, and I wager not one of them will speak to you about my being in Emily's room.
Do you think so?
Go on, you'll see. And come back with all the objects in one go. Time is against us. And remember, the code to get out of the secret office is 6466.
What on earth is that? A disc with information engraved in the metal? An iris that should open, I imagine, and blood.
Did you succeed in opening this iris?
Yes, by putting the cross on the console and the 3 nails on the disc, the iris opens. It gives access to a hole where I put my hand, thinking I could fully open the iris. There's a handle at the bottom, and as you can see, it didn't turn out very well for me.
There are Roman numerals, Arab numbers, and town names.
Go on. I'm listening. What do you think?
Tell me. I imagine that once we've solved this enigma, the iris opens, right?
Exactly.
On each engraved piece of information, there's a hole. Those are for the nails, right?
That's absolutely right.
Frankly, not much.
It's not going to be easy. So start by fetching all the keys then.
Mother? The dried blood. There.
Yes, it's mine. Sorry if I stained everything, but I must admit that at the time my thoughts were more on the pain than cleaning up after myself. You ought to go, Louis. If someone finds us here, the situation might well become seriously complicated.
Great, honey. An old sesterce from Roman Gaul. Famous cross of Clement III. Perfect. And one key found.
Есть так. У тебя других 11 способов. Не теряться.
Why a cross?
Well, I haven't the foggiest idea, but it just so happens that's what you are going to use to activate the mechanism. I found the one Mortimer kept. It belonged to Cardinal Guibert, better known by the name of Pope Clement III.
But you lost it.
How do you know that?
Because I found it. Would you believe that?
Well done, my son. So you've already got one of the keys.
Some nails?
Don't ask me. I'm not the one who made the mechanism, you know. When I arrived, there were already a few of them inserted, so I didn't have to worry about those. On the other hand, I remember seeing some in Mortimer's secret study, behind his nightmare.
In a golden cup? Yes. Yes, I saw them too.
Perfect. It will be easy for you to find them then. You need 3 of them.
Very well.
You remember what to do about the rollers. 1191 to enter, and 6466 to exit.
Of course. An exegesis. Anything else?
Did you manage to vanquish the Medusa?
To open the chimney? Yes, absolutely.
So you've already come across it. It's the Bible of Judas that is exposed in the secret room behind the chimney.
Why do they call it an exegesis?
Because that's what it is, and not an apocryphal Bible, strictly speaking. It's the study of a text with a summary, not an actual Bible. Anyway, well done for the Gorgon. You did well. You didn't get tricked by the light bouncing back.
Thanks. Do you think I can take it safely?
We haven't got a choice, Louis. Without it, we won't be able to work out this accursed mechanism.
There's one in the portrait gallery.
Yes, but it's enormous. If you don't want to have to go back and forth several times, then I suggest you get a smaller one.
What did you do then?
I didn't think I'd need one. I started without one, and I lost my hand before I did need one. And you can see the result.
This is the book in which you left your correspondence with Duchess Hillsborough, isn't it?
That's right.
You still believe it's in the tower room, don't you?
I don't know. There is only one way to find out, though.
Right. I shall go and see.
Будем искать. Так. Нет. Нет, не больше нет. Так. Уходим. Угу. Так. Идем дальше. Как выйти?
It's definitely an armillary sphere, but I have to find one that I can take with me. Otherwise, I risk drawing too much attention to my comings and goings. Now, where can I find a smaller one? Right. Let's see if the statues are in place yet. Shield toward the sword. Well, that's good. The statue is already in the right place. The lantern is already in the right position, turned toward the shield. The sword toward the Gorgon. That's good. It's in the right place. That statue is not positioned correctly. Open sesame.
Сюрприз.
Given all the relics preserved here, it wouldn't surprise me. Caesar's laurel wreath. Mortimer really is what my mother says he is. It could mean... So that's the exegesis of Judas. I hope Mortimer doesn't read it very often, otherwise he's going to notice that someone's stolen it. But that's just too bad. I need it. Right. I've got what I need. Now let's not waste any more time.
Сфера больше нет. Так тебе надо... Тебе тоже подняться. Дальше идем. Тихонько. Так.
Ah, Louis. Glad you're here.
Blasted. He's gonna talk about my mother.
Come and see what I've found. There are pieces of paper in the ashes of the chimney. Someone's been burning something here.
Incredible. He doesn't seem to want to speak to me about what happened between my mother and the Hillsborough sisters. Show me about it.
Look, it's possible to distinguish two different items.
The rest of the correspondence between my mother and Emma.
Someone tried to burn an exchange of messages. I'm certain there must be more.
Shit. What on earth is he doing?
Ah, I see. I know what it's about.
Do you know who was doing their communicating in this room?
Yes, but of course we must keep it to ourselves, because it is still a sensitive matter. Volner and Elizabeth had an affair. Volner hinted that he found a way to remain discreet about it. I admit it is ingenious.
Well, I would never have guessed.
Delighted to have helped, but I still have to find my mother.
Of course. We shall see each other later in that case.
Wasted enough time. The Bible. The Bible's still there.
Еще здесь.
A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
Здесь пытались. Свистит. Пугаешь ты?
Right. This time, it'll be a lot quicker. If I remember rightly, the code was 1191. Of course.
Конечно.
A map of the Orient. The conference might be focused on the United States, but Mortimer has an eye everywhere, which is not very reassuring if he really is a demon. It's locked. Looks like obsidian or onyx. It must weigh a ton. What on earth could that be? Feathers, pigeons probably. What? There. Those are the nails I was looking for.
Сферу, да?
A Van Leeuwenhoek microscope? The most sophisticated microscope there is. When I think of the difficulty the Order had in getting hold of one of these... Alright, come on, let's get out of here. 6466, if I remember correctly.
Сферус.
Monsieur Johann van Vulner.
Монеты. Не то. Сейчас выше. Внизу посмотри.
What can I do for you, sir? I am at your service day and night, sir.
As I was unable to bring my personal effects with me, I was wondering if you could find me a few items.
Of course, sir. What would you require?
Lord Mortimer certainly has a taste for staging rooms.
Neat. Sara. Странно. У нас последняя сфера осталась. Надо найти. Скатываться. Так. Какая комната, кстати? Странно. Универсальная, где-то и моя комната, верно? Я посмотрю там. Какие-то лапы. Следующий. Так.
Inferno by Dante. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. Golden elixir.
Эликсир, понятно.
Saint Francis of Assisi in ecstasy, before superior voices. It always amuses me to see how art gets used for propaganda purposes. Great, honey.
Все-таки нам нужно найти. Ой, сферу. А, на берегу. Слушайте, может, на берегу? Где вещи? Сфера. Больше нету? Я номер. Так, сейчас. Что мне еще раз уточнить? Сфера. Сейчас посмотрим. Разберемся потихоньку. Как-то пойдем. Так. Ну, будет назад. Что-то не есть, кстати. Трофеев это мы нашли. Собрание, да, гостиная. Стиль. Нет. Такую можно только маленькую найти. С вами, чтобы разгадать головой. Опять у нее еще раз уточним. Блин, не тут, так, а вот так. Может, туда все-таки интересно спускаться. Ага. Ну, давайте посмотрим. Сферу еще раз спросим.
There's one in the portrait gallery.
Yes, but it's enormous. If you don't want to have to go back and forth several times, then I suggest you get a smaller one.
What did you do then?
I didn't think I'd need one. I started without one, and I lost my hand before I did need one. And you can see the result.
There's one in the portrait gallery.
Yes, but it's enormous. If you don't want to have to go back and forth several times, then I suggest you get a smaller one.
What did you do then?
I didn't think I'd need one. I started without one, and I lost my hand before I did need one. And you can see the result.
What do you mean by the concordance of dates exactly?
Don't worry about that. We already have them. They are written on the back of the message I just gave you.
Да уж, отправил. Вот здесь. Какую сферу сейчас спросить нужно? Здесь вроде ничего нет. Не всякое. Что нужно. Понятно. Сейчас. Сейчас я иду. Сейчас. И чё теперь? Ясно. Что дальше? Проститься могу. Как понять, где сферу искать? Так, идем наверх. Второй этаж. Завтра если разгадать будет, что нервы не трудно. Говорят, окончание. Ну, как вы хотели бы разгадать? Смотри. Так, 8. 11.
Monsieur Johann van Vulner. An armillary sphere. Perfect. That will save me some time. I only hope that he isn't going to realize it right away.
Нужно возвращаться. Раскатываться как. Двигаемся. Проход искать. Запутаешься.
So, good. You've managed to gather all the keys.
Yes, that's right. I have everything. What should I start with?
Place the Clement III cross on the console. Then you have to put the nails on the disc of the door.
What hole should I put the nails in?
Well, I can't really advise you there, because I haven't exactly made the best choices myself. All I can say is that you have to insert 1 to choose a town, 1 to choose a chapter, and 1 to choose a verse.
What theme did you start with?
As the fresco shows the birth of Christ, I placed 1 nail in Bethlehem, 1 in chapter 2, and 1 in verse 6. The iris opened a little. I thought it was normal. Behind the aperture of the iris, there is a duct in which I put my hand. I felt something like a valve at the bottom. I thought by turning it the door would open, or the iris would open completely, or something else would happen. Instead, I felt something like an axe cut off my hand. I really thought it was the end of me.
What did you do then?
Well, although I had made some unfortunate choices, I was lucky in that Mortimer was well stocked with drugs. I raided his supplies of medicine.
All right, my turn now.
Go ahead, impress me. I'll shut up and let you concentrate.
The moons has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. This exegesis contains comments from Judas on the different Gospels. It only contains certain chapters and verses, and the chapters are indicated by Roman numerals. The lexicon refers to different chapters and verses from the exegesis of Judas.
Так.
fresco clearly shows the birth of Christ.
Louis, I can assure you that that is not the solution to this enigma. This fresco's only purpose is to mislead. I know that now. Please, focus on another theme about Christ.
We'll have to trust her. Yes, it's definitely a representation of the birth of Christ, but some of the details have flaked away. I can't see any other clues. One thing is for sure, this enigma deals with the life of Jesus, like my mother said. You could see that the paint has come off in parts. Difficult to see what was there, but I can distinguish the letters N, R, I. Nothing more. Yes, it's definitely a representation of the birth of Christ, but some of the details have flaked away. I can't see any other clues. One thing is for sure, this enigma deals with the life of Jesus, like my mother said. You could see that the paint has come off in parts. Difficult to see what was there, but I can distinguish the letters N, R, I. Nothing more. It looks like there are 3 types of inscriptions. There are 3 styles of writing, and I've got 3 nails. There must be a link. I must surely put in 1 nail per category. Clearly, we have names of towns, Arabian numerals, and Roman numerals. Cross is stuck in the mechanism. I can't do anything. The cycle of the moons has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. Chapter 1, verse 9. Jesus was baptized by John in Jordan on the 9th of Hesvan, 3852.
What hole should I put the nails in?
Well, I can't really advise you there, because I haven't exactly made the best choices myself. All I can say is that you have to insert 1 to choose a town, 1 to choose a chapter, and 1 to choose a verse.
Что не так работает?
Cross is stuck in the mechanism. I can't do anything. Arabian numerals and Roman numerals.
Ладно. Так. Чуть не понял. Почему не работает? Что не сделал?
Chapter 10, verse 30. I and the Father are one. Chapter 10, verse 30. I and the Father are one.
Так. Так. Так, все, что будет.
It works. Well done, Louis. I hadn't seen those other wheels. Try connecting the theme to see if it goes all the way.
There must surely be a connection between the wheels. This wheel represents the different moons. In the occult sciences, we represent the full moon by an X. As for the dark moon, called the new moon, in cults, well, it's often associated with something harmful. This wheel contains several symbols made up of 1 or 2 figures and 1 letter. The highest figure does not exceed 31, and each letter corresponds to a month of the year. A for April, and M for March. I think these symbols must represent a specific date. There are different icons on this now. Given the difference between the number of icons and the number of towns, I think that only one path connects all the wheels with one another. Let's try to connect the theme I've chosen with the rest. It looks like there are 3 types of inscriptions. There are 3 styles of writing, and I've got 3 nails. There must be a link. I must surely put in 1 nail per category. Clearly, we have names of towns, Arabian numerals, and Roman numerals.
Так. Ясно.
Look at this. There are notches between each of the wheels. So, I have to link the name of the town from the theme I've chosen to an icon, then to a date, and finally, the date to the moon.
It looks like there are 3 types of inscriptions.
Зачем вот это? Угу. Так. Мотылек. Угу. Дальше. Угу. Вроде готово. Новый.
I can feel the lever at the bottom.
Good luck. I never doubted you, my son.
Сомневался, сынок. Испытание веры. Я нашел все ключи по этой матери. Я нашел крест, который искусстве лес. Отвери взгляд. Собрание с Мануэлем. Так, хорошо. Готово. Ну что, ребят, на этом эпизод закончен. Дальше будет 4. Вот все интереснее. Ну что ж. Стоит, не знаю. Дальше в следующем эпизоде. Спасибо за просмотр. Ставьте лайки. Всем пока.